Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the May 7th, 2026 ESS Finance Subcommittee meeting. We do have a quorum, so we will go ahead and start with the April 9th, 2026 summary of the subcommittee actions and minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review them? Any questions, comments? Hearing none, I would take a motion for approval. Sherry's moved in the chat. Do I have a second? Second by Amy in the chat. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. We've got Sherry and Amy at aye in the chat. Okay, motion carries. Let's move on to the accounts receivable update. Like Lisa.
Hello. So with the exception of one item on here, these are all related to maintenance expenses that were invoiced to the counties. And those will be paid probably right after the July 1st. So we'll get updated invoices out to everyone if Sam has not already done that. Little guy loans was a problem with a credit card, and that has been taken care of. And so that item is paid in full.
Great. Thanks, Lisa. Anyone have any questions regarding that? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to the May summary of the April ESS payments.
Okay, accounts payable for the month of April. At the very top there, you'll see some meeting coffee supplies that we had to get for the new office. And then Alliant Energy, the system had double charged Alliant Energy's account during that the issues that we were having with USA ePay. So we sent them a check for $20.32. The 399 for Iowa Solutions, this is a normal expense that you see month to month. Just wanted to point out that it did raise a little bit with an extra computer being monitored and an extra Microsoft 365 account. The $92 for Nationwide, this was due to moving offices and some changes that they had to make with our insurance. Usually this is a annual expense hitting in June, and then also a little bit of our insurance hits in July. The $1,250 was for a moving expense. This was to move the cubicles that ESS owned from the old office to the new office, along with some other items they helped us move. The $4.55 was to reimburse for some office supplies from Dollar Tree. The 770 was to move the printer that is still under contract from the old office to the new office. The $68.15 was for mileage. The ESS admin team took a trip to Story County to kind of see their side of things. And overall, it was a very good experience. It was nice to see what the recorders do on their side compared to what we don't see every day on our side in the office. And the $990 was for Iowa Solutions to come set up the firewall at the old office. Enterprise Iowa had and owned the firewall. So at the new office, we had to get a firewall set up. And this was under the estimated cost that we originally received. $3,472. This is going to be a normal expense that you see month to month. I just wanted to point it out. This is our office lease, our rent for May. And then the project managers bill for April for 80 hours. And then we did have our audit. It is completely done. So this is the first progress bill that you will see. We will get another one around probably August for the remaining balance. Credit card expenses for the month. The $805.48 was to buy a refrigerator for the new office from Lowe's. The $653.76 was for office supplies, cords, etc. for the new office. The $109 was to get a microwave in the new office, also from Lowe's. 5701 and the 4998 were both to purchase items from Amazon for the new office. And just a reminder, anything for the new office is coming out of the reserve expense, or sorry, reserve account. $75 was to get flowers for the Polk County Recorder's parents' funeral. 8694 was also from Amazon to get supplies for the new office. The $100, this will be our new internet fee. This is way under the budgeted amount that we expected internet to cost us when the initial 2026 budget was prepared and approved, and then also in February. The $110 was for the Sectico annual renewal, and $75 to shred old documents that were at the old office. And then the $563.89 was the MailChimp email platform. I just highlighted this here because after moving new offices, they did charge us taxes. These taxes have since been reimbursed, and you'll see that in the May financials. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the payment reports for April.
Hey, Samantha, I don't have a question about the payments, but how is the internet service? It sounds cheaper, but is it working okay for all of you there at the new location?
It's been great. I have not seen or heard of any problems at all. Lisa,
Great.
Jamie?
No, I think it works well.
Awesome.
This is Natalie. Samantha, would you say we're done with it moving expenses? Are there any more upcoming that you see?
There are a few more in May. We did get a water cooler. The West Des Moines water is horrible.
Okay.
And then we did have to get a plug-in extension for Lisa. Her plug-in was not able to be reached after she got her new desk. So when we got all of our new desks, Lisa's came damaged, and she just got her desk last week.
Thank you.
And so those should be the last remaining stragglers, probably.
Yes.
Awesome.
And I just had a couple of things to add to that. We do need some, like an additional phone and video functionality in our conference room. Currently, we're using, there's typically a computer with a mic that we're using. So we're looking into supply, an option for that right now. So I do want to bring that up. And then our reception area. Anybody that's been here knows that it's very bare up there. So we probably will want to get some furniture in the reception area. And I consider that a moving expense, but I just thought I would throw it out there to let you know we still need a few things.
Yeah. Great.
This is the other Jamie. Do we know how much we have left in the moving budget that's remaining? I know we've come in under a lot, but I can't remember for sure how much we budgeted for sure.
So I believe the unrestricted reserve account was dedicated to those moving expenses.
Big or small?
And there is some still coming out
It is up to you.
of the unrestricted reserve. Those won't come out until I pay the credit card bill. but let me get up here, sorry. So currently we have, well, it says
There you are.
35,
Yes.
but it's
Have a good
probably
one.
more like 30,000 in the unrestricted reserve. So this amount here.
Thank you, Samantha.
Wait, so that was the moving expense budget was sorry, what was it originally, I guess? Or, so that's what's left, but what was the original?
I believe it was,
We originally said $10,000 and then bumped it up to, I believe, 15 as we realized we would need additional items for the office. Because that include moving expenses. I'm trying to think what else got moving expenses, desks and other things. I know what else we purchased. I was trying to think what else there was. We purchased the conference room furniture and chairs.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, any other questions from the group? Okay, hearing none. Is that the end, Samantha? I'm so sorry.
yeah.
I was writing down.
Okay.
Okay, so we're on the first action item under financial reports, May summary of April ESS payments. Really, I want to make sure that everyone's questions have been answered or comments. Hearing none, I would ask for a motion for approval.
This is Mel. I can,
Thanks, Mel. Do I have a second?
I'll second. This is Geraldine.
Thanks, Geraldine. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. So we've got some in the chat. Thanks, Kelly. Kelly's joined us. Sherry, Kelly, and Amy are aye in the chat. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to the May Fund 255 reimbursement invoice, pages 9 to 11 of your packet.
Okay, Fund 255 invoice for May 1st is $39,745.25. You'll see two lines on this invoice. If you remember, April 1st, we did not ask for a reimbursement from the state treasurer. During the month of March, there was no income to the account due to a mistake at the state treasurer's office. So in June, you will see pretty double this amount. So the $485.24 was the interest that had occurred in actually March. The funds that were received by the state treasurer's office were put into a wrong account, and we did not get that figured out until late April. So next month's invoice will be 2 months worth of money that the state treasurer received. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the reimbursement invoice.
Any questions, clarification, comments? I know we talked about that last meeting as well. It's in the minutes as well, so. You guys are very quiet. Hearing none, I would take a motion for approval.
This is Mel. I can move to approve.
Thanks, Mel. Do I have a second? Sherry, second in the chat. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Chat. I'm sure you guys are reviewing the chat. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to the March and the first quarter 2026 financial reports. The long reports, right, Sam?
Yes. The Bankers Trust settlement account opened with a beginning balance of $0 and ended with a balance of $0. And that account was successfully reconciled. The money market sweep account opened with a beginning balance of $1,416,982.41 and ended with a balance of $1,015,027.43. Interest is still dropping a little bit. And for the month of March, it came in at 2.53%, earning $2,955.54. In the reconciliation for the money market sweep account. And the drawdown account with a cleared balance of $69,945. Budgeted only profit and loss for the month of March. Budgeted income came in at $159,230.49. With budgeted expenses at $146,850.50, with a net income of $12,379.99. For the full profit for the month of March, again, budgeted income at $159,230.49, with revolving income at $3,674,366.06. With a gross profit of $3,833,596.55. Again, budgeted expenses at $146,850.50. And then the difference between the budgeted only profit and loss and this profit and loss would be all the reserve expenses. So the back file redaction expenses of $703.75. The office fixtures and equipment, this is mostly due to the new items for the new office of $7,520.79. And then software development and consulting of $3,429.60. With planned reserve expenses at $11,654.14. And then the depreciation is also another difference from the two profit and loss statements here of $18,337.02. With revolving expenses at $3,670,858.90. With total expenses at $3,847,700.56. With a net income for the month of negative $14,104.01. March comparison from 2005 to 2026. Money market interest income has been up 111% or $1,559.83 compared to last year. We did not have any chargebacks returns during the month in 2026. And then POS income is declining. Last year was a boat renewal year. So this has went down compared to 2025. And then also with the on-demand service for Lynn County no longer in service. E-submission service fees up 13.9%. And this year we do not have the MOU service. With a gross profit of up 4.8%. The office space lease here is up. During the month of March, we paid rent at the old office, and then we also paid April's rent during the month for the new office, including the down deposit, or sorry, the deposit of, I think it was about $1,700 for the new office. Credit card fees are up 47.9% compared to 2025. And ACH fees are up 11% compared to 2025. The POS transaction fees are down with those decrease in sales. If the fees are declining also. And then the memberships, this is for the Iowa Mortgage Association. Last year we paid this in the month of March. This year, I believe we paid it in January. And we did have a couple questions on the admin team's payroll. Was a lot of things changed compared to last year. We had some insurance pay changes during the month of October 2025. Our health insurance decreased. We had some members join our health insurance that maybe didn't previously have our health insurance. And then also we had a developer move back to full-time that was part-time, and we hired a new developer in January 2026. And then also the technical support and development employee moved to the technical lead. So a lot of switching around during the month. If you have any other questions on maybe the differences in compensation or anything, just let me know. The policy coordinator position is currently vacant. This was a full-time position in the month or in the year of 2025. And then the executive director did start during the month of March, just as a part-time employee, getting in and seeing the system. And then the computer equipment for the executive director is noted here also. AccuSoft Prism, last year we did pay this invoice in the same month. However, this was a reserve expense until later in the year when we were able to move it back to budgeted expenses. In 2026, we budgeted for this right away. The extra expense for Slack, this is normally an annual expense occurring in the month of August. However, with bringing additional team members on to the Slack program, we have an extra expense here in the month of March. And then the Microsoft expense did go up a little bit just with bringing on another employees for Microsoft 365. Forward file redaction services up 24.9% with those extra recordings and documents. This expense was expected to rise a little bit. And then technical consulting last year, we did not have this. This is for Kelly Wallace helping with the migration. Total budgeted expenses up 37.5%. with a net income decreasing by 72.5%. First quarter budgeted only profit and loss. Budgeted income at $607,808.39. Just wanted to point out the local service provider maintenance income of $153,320.95. So historically, we've always billed this out in the month of June. However, after switching to a calendar year, this will now become a January income. Total budgeted expenses at $661,495.96. And then again, the local maintenance expenses paid during the first quarter of $290,376.20, with a net income of negative $53,687.57. For the full profit and loss for the first quarter, again, budgeted income at $607,808.39, with revolving income at $9,342,774.69, with a gross profit of $9,950,583.08. Planned reserve expenses of $25,324.20. And depreciation for the first quarter of $55,011.06. With revolving expenses at $9,347,815.73. And total expenses at $10,089,646.95, with a net income of negative $139,063.87. First quarter 2025 to first quarter of 2026 comparison. Again, money market interest up 119% compared to last year. And bad payment fees up 83%. We had, I believe, 5 chargebacks in the month of February. And then next month, when we cover April, you'll see this jump quite a bit. I believe we had 13 chargebacks in the month of April. POS service down 30%. And the OD on-demand service for Lynn County down 100%, with that service no longer in service. Service fees up 11.6% for the first quarter. The Fund 255 reimbursement up just a little bit, 8.1%. And then here you'll see the local service provider maintenance invoices that were billed during January. Overall gross profit for 2006 was up 39.6%. And the accounting software services, this is for the ESS accounting system. And then the human resources, Oasis compared to Connectify after switching. I just wanted to highlight that we are saving approximately $900 for the first quarter. ESS meetings up about $1,600. This is for the mileage for the ESS committee to attend meetings. We did have a couple special meetings, additional meetings during the first quarter, and then this was also for the committee members to attend the hiring of the executive director in interviews, and then also to see the new office space. Office space lease was up again in the month of March. We did pay for the old office and the new office April rent, including the deposit. Bank account analysis fees just up a little bit, about $750. This is just with all the extra transactions in and out of the account, and then also our account balance is up compared to last year. Credit card fees for the first quarter up 24%. ACH fees up 10% for the quarter. And then, of course, the POS transaction fees did decline with the boat renewal not happening in 2026. Conferences and meetings. This is for the PREA spring conference, or last year, the project manager did plan on going. However, with everything going on in legislation, he was not able to go and canceled the trip. Policy coordinator, vacant in 2026. The JetBrains expense did go up for the year. We did renew this. This is an annual expense, but with bringing on another developer and then adding credits, I believe for AI. Lisa, you might correct me there. I believe that extra credits were for the AI portion.
That's correct.
Okay. And then the AccuSoft Prism expense being a budgeted expense during 2026 during the quarter. The Slack additional expense was for bringing on that third developer into the program and then also the executive director. And then Dropbox, I just wanted to point this out. Last year we had this in another account. However, we did make a separate account for this in the accounting software to be more transparent. And then the technical consulting for the first quarter of 2026 for Kelly to assist with the migration. Developer equipment, this would be for the third developer. And system equipment. So this was for Arion. This was actually a contract that we signed late 2023. And then we decided to go another way and move everything to the cloud. So in 2025, we did have to pay for the signed contract with Arion. Local maintenance expenses of $290,376.20. This would normally be a third or fourth quarter expense, but since moving to a calendar year, you can expect this expense to happen in the first quarter. Total expenses up 98% for the year, with net income down 153%. Balance sheet as of March 31st, 2026, the BT settlement account showing $997,759.90. Just a reminder, this account is always at $0. This is just the balance of unreconciled transactions in the accounting software. With the money market sweep account at $1,015,027.43. And total assets and liabilities at $2,796,207.27. There are two credit card reports on in the packet. The first one is the old credit card, which we are slowly trying to migrate everything to the new credit card with a new address, and just to take the project manager off of the old credit card. So the first beginning balance was $3,111.94 with the ending balance of $11,805.14. And then the new credit card that we had just started up in the month of March had a beginning balance of $0 and an ending balance of $999.49. And the reconciliation for the two credit cards. Fund 255 had a beginning balance of $165,751.05 with an ending balance of $116,164.28 with total receipts of $39,260.01. And the reconciliation for the Fund 255 account. And profit and loss with a net income of negative $4,041.88. And a balance sheet of total assets and liabilities equaling $116,164.28. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the March or first quarter financial reports.
Phew. That was a lot. Thank you, Samantha and Jamie and Lisa. Does anyone have any questions or comments, clarification? A lot to take in, but as always, Samantha does a great job going through it line by line, pretty much. Well, hearing none, I would take a motion for approval for the March and first quarter 2026 financial reports.
This is Geraldine. I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Sherilyn. Do I have a second? Second by Amy in the chat. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to the calendar year 2026 budget amendment.
Jamie, did you want to share your screen for that?
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
Thanks.
Host disabled attendee screen sharing. So I don't know if somebody can make me allow me to share my screen.
Hold on 1 second. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I am sharing my screen and I have the budget amendment in as one file up, and the other one is going to be the memos that were sent out. There are two memos that are really tethered to this budget amendment. And I'll go through this first memo, which is, the budget amendment has been prepared, and we, have changes with both the revenue and the expense categories. So our revenue is above projections, and the POS has declined compared to previous projections, and that revenue is expected to increase by over 21,000. So just to kind of show you, display that information, here is the amendment Excel file, and you can see that 21,000 there. On the other hand, the expenditures are projected to decline by more than $11,000. And so our net income will increase by over 32,000. So we included this budget amendment in the packet. I think it's going to be a little bit easier for me to go through it on the actual Excel file because I have comments and things like that on there. So the income, there's no change projected for the point of sale. And our e-submission is up. And so let me get to that. So here's our budgeted income section. Oh, I need that. And so you can kind of see here, we had that 93,000 in January, 85,000 in February, March at 103. We added April actuals, and so everything highlighted in blue are actuals here. And we're projecting that May will be 93,000 still. And the rest of the months, let me see here, are 93,000. But we have been over for March and April, which is great. And so I'm sure this will continue to increase. Right now, we're keeping that steady at 93,000 for the prediction. And then we have the expense reimbursement 255. And you'll see that April has $0 for that. And that is where Sam said we would receive that by mid-April for 53,000. So that is the reason for that increase for June. And let me see here. I think that is everything here. The expenses portion of this, we have made no adjustments to, see here, the audit expenses, but you will notice this annual audits, we have that 7,500 in April and the secondary payment in June for 3,500 for that audit. Let's see here. We have the project manager fees here. and you saw that invoice amount for 8,000. We have 7,000 predicted for May, 6,000 for June. Let's see, and then the big change really is this office operation. We had predicted certain expenses with our office, and some of these are lower than we thought. Some of these don't exist because they were part of our um, rental, so that's great. We had originally predicted that internet to be a lot higher, and so we have moved that down to 100 for the rest of the year. The office space, so you can see in March and April at 6522, and that was for both spaces. And moving forward, May and forward, that's going to be about 3,500, 3,472. The firewall is a new item. We did not pay for that separately previously, and now we do. So that has been added at 180 a month. And then we have the tech support, which is remaining the same pretty much, but there was an increase for the firewall installation here. Let's see here. We had this miscellaneous expense of, the flowers, and then we also plan on having that open house in August. Very excited for that, to bring everybody here. So we have some budget reserved for that. And then for the education and outreach, we are wanting to reserve 3,000 to have the focus group individuals, if they can, attend in person to go through that together in a meeting. And we also have the summer school travel planned for June. And we've added some travel items in May, and that is for the District 4 meeting and also the Charles City for District 2. So we have a couple of conferences and meetings scheduled for that. And then in August, that 2,500 would be for the PRIA conference. And we also have a potential district meeting reserve fund. So we're looking at potentially joining the other district meetings in the fall time, just to kind of push that budget out a little bit. Okay, and let's see here. Okay, so the software equipment, we actually added $200 because Canva will be pulled into that October payment from a software perspective. Let's see if there's anything else to share there. I don't think so. So we had moved, let's see, the certificate cost from May into April. So that's why there's some movement here. That's why it's has a gray item over it. And JIRA, we increased the cost. I think that was previously reserved at $43 a month, and we increased it to $47. That seems to be the average of what we're paying now with those 2 additional licenses. And we had chargeback fees. So we're going into the payment expenses area. We had chargeback fees of $500. So we increased that amount for May. And then we have an increase in July's POS transaction fees for the PCI annual fees per county, and that's $40 per county. So we had increased that amount. Let's see. I think that is all the changes here. Yep, yep, okay. So that was the major changes, and then there's one other budget item worth mentioning, and this is a brand new item, and I have a memo in there for that, which is for the compensation adjustments. So in my first month, this last month, I have already conducted 2 performance reviews. And I noticed during the performance review process that there's not a compensation adjustment during the performance review. And so I would like to recommend adding in a line item to be proactive in that process so that I can provide that the salary increase during the performance review. And in my memo, I have broken out the overall adjustment details of what's in this line item. And this would be by role that I've broken all of this out, where it has a senior developer having that 3% increase. So there were 2 reviews that, like I said, are already completed, and it's these top 2. And my recommended compensation increases are listed here. And then the reviews planned for the rest of the year, I also have the compensation increase outlined. And I do think that the accountant and the account manager took on a lot of additional work during the transition of the project manager to the executive director, and continue to take on additional responsibilities because of that. So I have a 5% compensation increase, which is and 6% for the account manager. And so this compensation adjustment line item moving forward would have those increases at those different times of the review for the employee. And as these are applied, they would be removed out of this line item and added into the salary line item, or I should say
It's total compensation, Jamie.
thank you, total
You're
compensation.
welcome.
For the different roles that you see here under the administration costs. And so that is kind of a different process, and I just wanted to get that out in front of everybody for your approval to make that change.
Thank you, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Questions? I just want to echo that from November to the present, the additional duties that Lisa took on and Samantha took on, and really the whole ILR team, just with finding the new executive director and having more meetings and plus still doing your regular jobs. You guys knocked it out of the park. So I would be in full support of the second memo about the budget amendment with the employees' compensation. So that's my only comment.
This is Mel. I'll echo Stacy's comments. I also appreciated all the time and with the payment process, with some of the delays and the tracking, and for all 99 counties, the extra time and after hours that things are getting done that maybe people didn't really realize. And I really do appreciate that and the time spent maybe outside of the normal window of your job duties, but just acknowledging that that's what's getting done behind the scenes. So I do appreciate that. I also think that your memo about the compensation and then kind of showing it in the budget, I kind of like that new approach. So I think that's great. And then moving it down appropriately, if you see fit to give that adjustment at the time of review, I think that'll be something good. And I appreciate that suggestion.
So with the compensations previously, they would have been in, I guess, the line item for that position, correct?
Yes.
So
So
before it was approved, I guess, if
right,
you know that.
right. So I think what happened would be that there would be a memo for the compensation adjustment request. And when that was approved, most of the time, I think like last year, it may have been done in June. And so you would see that change, and it would all be typically in 1 month. And so in this case, it would be at the time of the performance review by the employee. And so when that was approved, it would be, let's see here, it would change, the projected amounts. So after it was approved, you would receive that memo, and after it was approved, if approved, then it would change the balance sheet, or budget sheet, and it would be per role. So in this case, the difference would be we would have this as a compensation adjustment. This would be the plan for the year. So it would be factored into the budget at the beginning of the year. And I would keep this in November as a recommendation for the next, for the year 2027. And so there would be budget put aside for that ahead of time.
Yeah, I do agree and like that's set up. And I don't want to take anything away from anything that Samantha, Lisa, and that have done. They have done incredible, amazing, completely impressed with how they've gone above and beyond. So I get we want to compensate them for that, which I feel we should. I guess my question would be, and this is just kind of throwing it out there, and maybe for a discussion, is do they receive some sort, I don't know if you want to say stipend or something, for going above and beyond? Because I assume a lot of that work, that extra work has, I don't want to say, ended, but like obviously with the move and all that extra that we are looking at compensating them for is not continuing to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Really, they're taking on additional workload as well. And I think during that transition, they both took on additional tasks. So from the memo, you'll note that, Samantha, or sorry, the accountant, sorry, we talk about roles. Something I got to get used to.
You're good.
So, Samantha's continued to take on additional work. And so I think that's really important to know as well. They are doing more of HR work moving forward as well. There was a huge change in the last year, which I'm sure you're more familiar than I am, that we moved to the Connectify HR system. And there was a huge migration effort for that. And so the accountant, has been very focused on that HR tasks as well, and getting all of those things set up, along with, a different 401k company and things like that. So there's a ton of work that has been added there from a task perspective. So that's a higher level kind of tasks that are being done moving forward. And from the account manager position or detail, there's a lot of travel and different conferences that we're planning on going to. And that person has definitely helped schedule, and I don't expect, those tasks to go off of their desk. For the rest of this year or moving forward. I think that it empowers them to take on more.
Okay, thank you, Jamie.
What other questions comments from the rest of the group? I appreciate the detailed memo, both memos, Jamie, as well. So, I mean, hearing nothing else, do I have a motion for the budget amendment?
This is
So
Natalie.
moved
I
by
can make that
Sherry. Oh,
motion.
okay, Natalie, looks like Sherry moved. Would you mind being the second, Natalie?
I will second, yes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for the calendar year 2026 budget amendment. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to our discussion items. First with the April metrics.
Let me just get my screen back up
You're
here.
good.
Thanks, Samantha. I didn't know how to remove myself as the presenter.
It's okay. All right, can you guys see the packet again?
Yes.
Okay. I did an up. Are we doing relocation
Oh,
expense?
no, so that's fine. You drive. I mean, they're all listed here. I didn't know if you wanted to go in order. But you can start here. That's fine.
Okay. So sorry, Stacy.
No, you're good.
Just a quick update on the audit. The audit did begin on April 20th, and as far as we know, they are completed with the audit for 2025. I have not heard anything from the Denman team that they needed any additional information. As soon as we get that final audit report, we will provide it to you, and then Robert or Rachel will be in our August meeting to go over that full report and present it to both committees.
Hey, it's Lisa. I want to add a couple things. First of all, we all owe Samantha a huge thank you because she did all the prep work. The practice has changed over the last few years where Denman provides us with a portal and a list of everything that all the information they require. So that saves so much time that this year they were only in our office for 2 days because everything was prepared and ready for them to go. So thanks, Samantha. And as far as I know, it went great. I barely spoke to any of the accountants when they were here.
Yes, thank you, Samantha.
I know last meeting we provided a memo about relocation expenses and kind of some that we were maybe projecting. I've just updated that memo with all the expenses that have occurred to date with an updated cost of $16,014.51. Jamie, do you want to cover ReGov?
Sure, I can do that. So in April, I received communication from ReGov, and they mentioned, that they thought they had a couple of years left of development for their software, but it was moving a lot faster than what they thought, and they wanted to integrate with ILR. And so we met, and then, I had our lead developer or technical lead meet with the ReGov individuals, and that was their lead developer and the business contact. And they are ahead of schedule, and they just wanted to talk through all the requirements for integration. And so we talked a little bit about what that looked like. I sent them the Swagger pages or the requirements of how to build out the integration so that they could keep moving forward with their development. And we have put together the maintenance and support agreement, which is a draft. And I will be presenting this next week at the ESS meeting as well. But this is just boilerplate agreement. And so this is something that we will need to have approved before we provide any, credentials or anything to regov to access our APIs or anything like that. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that there is a new service provider that is looking to integrate, and their initial integration is set for August, and they said 4 to 6 months. So I just estimated August to October for the first two counties that they're working with, and that includes Pocahontas and Adams counties. So that is currently attached, just as an FYI, so everybody is aware.
Okay. How about the WordPress update? Is Kristen on? I thought I saw if she was logged in, or if Jamie, you want to talk about the WordPress update?
Yeah, I do see Kristen. Are you there?
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
Okay.
Awesome.
The update on that is that, I guess in regards to the finance committee, we do get a hours worked invoice every month from Visionary, and they have started building several of our pages already. And we had our first kickoff, or we had our kickoff meeting for our focus group, which is made up of some county recorders that volunteered to offer feedback on the website as we get these updated. So far, they have completed some initial feedback on just their initial impressions of the site right now, so we can start thinking as a group about how recorders want to use the page and direct your communities to those resources. The next steps will be looking at the hub resources and begin reviewing some of these new pages. So we are in the very early stages of review, but we are moving along pretty fast for this rebuild. We're still looking at a launch date by the end of June. So I'm really excited to provide a more in-depth review by the time we have our coordinating committee next week. The day before that coordinating committee is actually going to be our first review session with that focus group. So I'm really excited, and it's moving really fast. I can't believe we're already in May. But Visionary has been great to work with, and they are building quickly. So it's going good. Did you guys
That's
have
great
any
to hear.
questions about it?
No, it's just great to hear that it's going good, and I look forward to seeing some of the cool stuff you guys are doing.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, how about the notification system? How is that going? Are we on track with that, Jamie?
Yes, we are on track with that. And Phil has been putting together a work authorization for the second phase. And feel free to talk more about that if you'd like.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh,
Well, we are just, thanks everybody. Good to see you. Um, this is one of those times when I think this is the most fun I've had at a finance meeting ever. And you can figure why, but, uh,
you bring
uh,
the effing fun, Phil.
and, the team is doing a great job. I have to say that. I think the main message I have is that, we're 1 month into the project now. So we did our first work authorization back on April 13th. This current work authorization will end at the end of this week. Most of that time has been dedicated to a whole lot of planning and discussion, designing the architecture of the system. Um, Fortunately, we had a good place to start with the RFQ, but there are a lot of technical details that have been discussed, and even up to today, and I would say even until we actually get to our team meeting with the CAT group tomorrow, we're still working on details for what will be in the Part 2 work authorization. This next work authorization will officially begin on Monday, and it is scheduled to go through the first week of June. Um, and the exciting thing is that I can say that there's real coding work that is being done. Um, and we've done the design for the database. We've talked about the major components. We're working on the backend services. So if you want to think about, okay, how is the notification system going to receive information about the recently recorded documents? And then how is the notification system going to capture that information? How is it going to run a separate software instance of basically our search engine to identify matches of the names that have been included in the profiles? And then the initial stages of what are the underlying components of the system that need to generate the data, the information that will be used to populate the notification emails that are distributed. That's really where we're at. All of those back-end activities are being worked on, and that really comprises the majority of this next work authorization. And I think you'll begin to see uh, some tangible progress made to not just talk about it, but actually create this thing. The next work authorization after this one is going to continue some of this work, but real work will begin on the user interface that you as recorders will access, that the users will use to create their notification profiles, and also the user interface that ESS administrators will use to monitor what's going on and then gather information necessary to provide support to the customers that are using the system. Um, so I would just say I'm enjoying just being a project manager on a software development project. I really, really do enjoy that, and I appreciate the opportunity to play the supporting role on something that's really very important and meaningful, and I know strongly desired by county reporters across Iowa. So my summary would be, I would say that we are on track, we're on schedule. Um, I think the details of that have been developed about how the system is actually going to work, um, I think it's something that you will all find to be very satisfying once we get there. Um, we are aware that there are going to be upcoming meetings, and so there is a part of this work authorization that even though we weren't really deeply into the user interface development, the plan is to basically develop a mock-up or a wireframe workflow so that when you have a summer school, we will not be able to do a live demo, but we'll be able to show you step by step how you and a user would use the system once it's created. So we know that people are anxious to actually see something, and so that is a part of this work authorization as well. I would be
Okay.
happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you, Phil, for sticking on through this project and getting it off the ground for us. I'm super excited. I know this is something that I kind of initiated with the association and many years ago now, but it's super exciting to see something new being created for recorders on behalf of our constituents. So thank you.
Ditto. Any other
I,
questions? Oh, go ahead, Phil.
I see a question in the chat bot about who is M. Davis. Is that directed at me, or could
Hmm.
you clarify the question?
Hmm.
I think it was a general question, Phil.
Okay.
Hmm.
There is an N. Davis. Noah Davis is the project manager working
Oh.
on the CAT team, and he's kind of the counterpart that I am most closely working with on a day-to-day basis. So Noah Davis is a member of the CAT team, and he is their project lead. And then uh, uh, I would just say that any of you who participated in the selection process, you know that a lot of people on the CAT team was a participant in that. And I would just want to share with you, I don't talk to them all every day, but they are as engaged as a team as they were on day one. So we're really pleased with their responsiveness.
That's good to hear. Thank you very much, Phil, for the update. It's nice to see your face.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I agree. Thanks for joining us, Phil, and for all the updates.
Yeah. Anybody else have questions or comments for Phil or the ILR team? How about we end with the metrics? I'm sure all of us on the call can say that recording is up, which makes us all happy. And yep, we're neck and neck with 2021. So go ahead, Jamie. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was waiting for Samantha.
Oh, okay.
I had her name on this.
Oh, okay. Recording for April is almost matching 2021 for the month, just a little bit under. Let me see if I can get that exact number for you. Sorry. It was. I'm not gonna be able to find it now. At 35,713 for the month of April.
For this year, right?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome. No wonder we're all tired.
Right?
Keep it up. Keep it up. That's all I can say is keep it up. Anything else for the good of the group and just appreciate. Yeah, and I'll echo. I think Sherry Jones says, I think it was summer school 2023 that Jamie from Adams got the notification ball rolling. Does that seem right or is it longer?
I think that was it. We were in Burlington when that happened, I believe.
Yeah, right. So exactly. Okay. Well, you guys have a good rest of your day. You know, that's all I have. And we'll see everybody June 11th at 9 a.m. for the next ESS meeting, finance meeting. And always tune in. Next week is coordinating committee. So meeting. So thanks, everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good day.